We need to be recognized, including our herbs, because we know them. And there's something that I hate, which is a stereotype, whereby it is said that we don't even know our measurements. We don't know, they are not fresh or so. We know exactly what we do. We know our measurements. There were no spoons before. There were no cups before. There were no milliliters before. You understand? But we know what we're doing.
Punyezwa Gomomo has been a traditional healer for more than 20 years. Together with her late husband, they spent the better part of their lives making traditional medicines. She has something for most ailments, from headache treatments to something for stomach cramps and even high blood pressure. She believes her skills are a gift. She initially opened a herbal shop in Uitenhage, the first of many now operating in Nelson Mandela Bay Metro.
If the government can recognize the use of these medicines by the people who understand them. I've mentioned the fact that I put bread on the table by using them. It's easy for you to have helpers. You know, if you go to the forest, for instance, or to the bush to go and dig, you've got somebody that you employ and give money to dig for you. Again, if you've got a shop, they know they must pack for you. Others are selling for you. You've got a staff around you who will be having salaries from the herbs, which is, it's something that must continue because it can help in this unemployment.
On the other side of town, we meet Chief Cecil Alexander, a traditional healer himself. He shares some of the insights into his craft.
This herbs around here, this on this side, all of them is for high blood and sugar, diabetics. So that is dacha, and this is clip dacha that grew in the field. This is parapus, and was herbs dacha, yeah. So that is wynrijk. That one is wynrijk there.
Trading in indigenous plants is good business. It is worth an estimated 270 million a year with a customer base of more than 26 million. It employs 133,000 people, mainly women in rural areas. The sector has so much more potential.
The first problem is that when we're talking about recognition, being recognized by who? And when we talk about recognition, the ground should be leveled. So there is that problem. We are still working on an uneven ground. And also the problem of terminology. You know, anything indigenous is still defined from a Western perspective. Because if we are talking about traditional medicine, what is traditional medicine in the first place? Because we are talking about plants. Plants, they grow everywhere. They grow from the soil.
One of the country's best known medicinal plants, cannabis or dacha, is also on the economic radar of the provincial government. Cannabis growers in Lusikisiki, the dacha belt of South Africa, know the economic value the plant holds. They just want to grow it legally to unlock its true agricultural value. Growing and selling dacha is the livelihood for many in the area.
We would love for government to give us licenses so that we can use this cannabis legally. We have land that the government can help us in and cultivate for us so that we can plant our cannabis. We plow what we can, but we don't want to plant all the stuff we want to plant because we don't have sufficient land. If they legalize the trading of cannabis, we would be doing so much better financially.
We are really looking at government re-looking at the current laws that are existing, because we want to affirm the ordinary people who have been actually cultivating this in these areas, so that you give them the proper support as government.
Medical experts say the recognition of traditional medicine that healers are looking for should be attainable through scientific study and regulation.
It should be on the same level, I think, and but it should then be equally regulated. I think this is where now the issue comes. And when you regulate a drug or a medicine, you look at its efficacy, so how does it really work? And obviously there needs to be studies and trials that speak to that. And also, is it safe? And so there needs to be studies once again to look and make sure that the safety profile is up to par. And obviously then you're going to start looking to issues of accessibility, and those are the much more lower scale, but it must work and it must be safe. And hence we've got like a regulatory body like SAPRA, which used to be MCC. SAPRA, so if we are going to take any drug or any medication and say it must be easily accessible and widely used, it must go through those regulations.
The formula of many herbal remedies is a closely guarded secret. It's also intertwined with the philosophy in which health is linked with spirituality. The recipes and remedies are also transferred verbally without written texts. There is little record of how the medicines were made and used hundreds of years ago. This makes scientific scrutiny a difficult affair. Walking into this herbal shop is no different than walking into a pharmacy. You are greeted by a pharmacist, in this case a healer. You get to explain what your problem is, and then he prescribes the right medication. But the only difference here is the packaging. It is packaged in this plastic, and as you can see, it is a natural extract from the ground, all coming from the natural habitat of this ground. I think the one outcry from traditional healers, from herbalists, is that their medicine must be given equal importance and esteem like westernized medicine, and for that to start, there needs to be an equal playing field for both parties. Lerato Fekisi, SABC News, Gqeberha.